opening surah of Quran, I quote some portion of that surah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, show us the straight path, the path of those whom thou hast favored. The Vaishnava tradition believes in a personal God, Lord Vishnu, or his incarnation Krishna, and the various manifestations of Vishnu. According to Vaishnavism, the world that God has created is his outer being, inseparably linked with him. It is his manifestation, a realm reflecting the divine glory in which the God is engaged in divine sport, Leela. Vaishnavism lays emphasis on devotion to a personal God who is an ocean of all sublime qualities, and complete surrender to him is the characteristic of a true devotee. According to Vishishtadvaita of Ramanuja, all things are modes of God and all names are his names. And according to Sharanagati Gadyam, ascribed to Ramanujacharya, Lord Vishnu, by his nature, is blemishless, free from all evil, holy, having knowledge and bliss as his nature, uniquely different from everything else. He has a divine form, which is the treasure of qualities such as unsurpassed effulgence, beauty, fragrance, softness, grace, tenderness, friendliness, impartiality, compassion, sweetness, magnanimity, generosity, steadiness, and the like. Madhva identifies Brahman, that is the Supreme Self, mentioned in the Upanishads, with Lord Vishnu. Nimbarka maintains that the highest object of worship is Krishna with his consort Radha. For Vallabha, Lord Krishna is the highest entity. And about worship of God, the Islamic perspective I present first. In Islam, the prayer is considered as a type of worship including specific statements and actions, beginning with the pronouncement of the greatness of Allah and ending with salutations of peace. It is considered as one of the pillars of Islam. The term Salat literally means supplication, invoking Allah's blessings, asking his adoration and forgiveness. In Islam, Salat is regarded as the canonical meditative phenomenon. For the devotee, Salat is the mystical ascension into the most holy presence of God. There are 5 obligatory prayers prescribed to the follower of Islam: the noon prayer, Dhuhr, afternoon prayer, Asr, the sunset prayer, Maghrib, the night prayer, Isha, and morning prayer, Fajr. Purity is to be maintained strictly for a prayer, and I escape all the details of purity which have been described in the Holy Quran for the want of time. It has been said one must face the masjid in Makkah while performing every prayers. It has been said in the Holy Quran, I quote, O Muslims, wheresoever ye may be, turn your faces when ye pray toward it. There are certain rules regarding the bodily postures in the performance of the prayer. One should stand during the prayer. However, the voluntary prayer, one can remain in that prayer sitting. The prayer is to be performed with the presence of heart, as it has been said, when one stands up to offer his prayer, he communes with his Lord. The soul of a prayer lies in recitation, supplication, bowing, prostration, humbleness, beseeching, and feelings. The adhan is a call to intimate others in specific words that the time of prayer has begun. In the morning adhan, the caller to prayer says, prayer is better than sleep. Here I remember what has been said in Yajurveda, Uttishtata ma swapta. Awake, don't sleep. It has been said that adhan can be followed by individual supplications which are likely to bear fruit. Islam has instructed congregational prayer, which is compulsory in as Al-Jummah's prayer, Al-Eid prayer. It enhances unity, brotherhood, harmony, and equality between all those who follow Islam. Prayer is meditative in its nature, and at the same time it can be linked to social well-being as people come together in such prayers. According to Vaishnavism and according to Hinduism also, of course, there are generally 16 steps of worship. So for Hinduism, worship is not only prayer. In worship, prayer is a mode of worship. So there is elaborate worship which is apart from prayer, in which prayer is a part. Generally, there are 16 steps of worship offered to image of a deity in a temple. However, in today's household worship, only 5 steps are generally observed. These are offering of sandalwood paste, eatables, burning incense, lamp, and prayer. The worship can be completed with pradakshina, that is circumambulation and bending to the ground for a salutation in a temple. No worship is complete without the recitation of mantras related to the deity whom the worship is offered. The constant remembrance of God leads the aspirant to trance. In Nitya Grantham ascribed to Ramanuja, he describes the ritual of daily worship and gives importance to surrender to Lord. Pilgrimage is also a common practice, spiritual practice, which is a religious practice, but which enhances spirituality. It is common to both religions. Going on a pilgrimage is a popular practice in both traditions. All Hindus are supposed to take up a journey, yatra, across India to the sacred places associated with their respective following. Symbolically, pilgrimage in Hinduism is a journey of the embodied self, Jiva, to the abode of one's chosen deity. This divine abode is represented on earth by a temple erected in its honor. The Vaishnava devotees mostly go on foot to a pilgrimage center. Emphasis is laid on purity of heart, surrender at the feet of Lord, and forgiveness. Devotion and purity of mind are important, but power, position, or social status are not. This is the message of pilgrimage. Islamic perspective, according to which pilgrimage is one of the 5 pillars. Pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in a lifetime is obligatory upon Muslims. Muslims from all over the world assemble in Mecca to commemorate the divine rituals observed by the Prophet Abraham and his son Ishmael, the first pilgrims to Kaaba. It is also to keep in mind the great assembly of the Day of Judgment when people will stand equal before Allah. We come across the norms laid down for a pilgrim in the Holy Quran. It has been proclaimed the pilgrimage is in the well-known months, and whoever is minded to perform the pilgrimage therein, let him remember that there is to be no lewdness, nor abuse, nor angry conversation on the pilgrimage. And whatsoever good ye do to Allah, whatsoever good ye do, Allah knoweth it. Pilgrimage in both Vaishnavism and Islam is an example of not only a magnanimous and long established devotional tradition, but also of a voluntary and peaceful congregation. About relation between God and man, according to Hinduism and especially according to the Vaishnava tradition, one of the relations of the devotee with God is that of a servant, Kainkarya. Etymologically, Kainkarya means willingness and readiness to serve God, asking, "What shall I do? Kim karomi?" Ramanuja praised the Lord, saying that he should be accepted as the humblest of the humblest servants. Vallabha speaks of 3 types of service to Lord, namely service to be rendered by body, by the will, and by the mind. Service to the devotees of the Lord is also prescribed in the Vaishnava tradition. In this tradition, as a servant to Lord, the devotee also has to perform certain religious acts, mostly in a temple, in service to the Lord. in the form of manual service. These include cleaning the floor of the temple, the surroundings, bringing flowers or water for the worship of Lord, lighting the oil lamp, etc., etc. The Dasya Bhava is another term that expresses that a devotee can be a servant of Lord as Hanumana was to Lord Rama. Islam perspective. In Islam, man is considered as a slave of Allah. The reason is that a slave is aware that he has no possessions of his own, everything belongs to his master. Similarly, man who is a slave of Allah is aware that the wealth which he owns belongs to Allah and it is to be used as directed by Allah. He believes that Allah knows what is good for him, so his decisions depend on the will of Allah. His actions too are guided by Allah. In Quran, Muhammad is mentioned as the slave of Allah. Surrender to God is also common to Hinduism and Islam. Prapatti is defined as total or complete surrender to Lord. It reduces ego and makes man humble and meek. There are several dimensions of prapatti.
Now you can summarize.
Okay. And which some of them are to consider that the dignity of every living being is to be mentioned. And according to Islamic perspective, surrender or submission, Islam itself means surrender or submission. And charity is also common to both. In the Holy Quran, clarity towards the poor is especially underlined, and all of us know that is in Islam, zakat is very common and it is spontaneous, and in Mahabharata also, and especially in Bhagavad Gita, charity, dana, its categories are mentioned. Fasting is common to both religions, and Ramadan we all know, and in Hinduism there are specific days to specific deities. Now in conclusion, I would like to conclude, having observed the meeting points in Islam and Vaishnavism, such as for both, being a slave of God is also freedom from other types of slavery, that is slavery to greed, to social status. We should also note that by no means we want to say that one or the other tradition is better. We have to take into account that unbiased study of phenomenology of religion must keep us away from making normative judgments or from arriving at one-sided conclusion of truth and value in each religion. We certainly come across common religious structures. However, this is only an outcome of a conditioned framework of religious studies. While dealing with two different traditions, one has to be very careful in the interpretation of the statements, and we should preserve the sanctity of the position of each religion. Doctrines of both religions, Hinduism and Islam, abound in spiritual insights that enrich the dignity of mankind. These insights, for example, the straight path in Islam and Lord Krishna's promise about establishing the victory of righteousness on evil as evinced by the Bhagavad Gita, further provide us with models for escaping the looming threats of evils that we come across in our life. It is well said, cows are of many colors, but the milk of all is of one color. Even so, proclaimers who proclaim the truth use many forms to put it, but the truth enclosed in all is one. This is important. The essence, the spirituality of all religions is one, but we must remember that the forms are different and that difference too has to be respected by all of us. Gavam aneka varnanam kshirasya asti ek varnata kshiravat pashyate jnanam linginastu gavam yatha. Thank you very much.